Well, for today's Capitol Close-Up, we're very happy to welcome Virginia Congressmember Suhas Subramanyam here in the Fox 5 studios, getting ready for a big town hall tonight. More work on the Hill. I appreciate you joining us this morning. Thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you.
A lot of work going on behind the scenes. First of all, I know you're going to be talking with constituents tonight, or at least hearing from them with the town hall. Town halls have been a little dicey across the country recently. So what are you expecting to hear from constituents, and how do you balance that? How do you manage all the news that's going on in the world with the people who need your help the most, your constituents?
Yeah, you know, people have been very passionate, right? They've been very, somewhat angry, I would say, about what's going on in the administration. I'm going to a redder area of my district because I also want to see some people disagree with my stance that we need to protect federal workers. We need to make sure we protect our economy here in Northern Virginia. And I'm going to be rolling out some new legislation, making sure that the agencies that are here aren't moved at the expense of taxpayers to red states that President Trump wants to reward. And so there's a lot to talk about, and there's a lot going on in D.C. But most of all, I want to see people face to face, eye to eye, and hear their concerns. I think that's the best way to communicate with your constituents.
You mentioned the moving of agencies around, and that's one of the things that you mentioned, the COST Act that you're introducing now to try to protect some of the agencies that are here in D.C.
Yeah, all we're saying is we've got a lot of agencies here in D.C. There's a reason for that. We have agencies all around the country, too. If we're going to move an agency from our community here to another part of the country, let's make sure we're not ripping off taxpayers in the process. Let's make sure there's a good reason to do that. And in most cases, there hasn't been. The last couple of times they've moved agencies, it's been a disaster. Financially, it's been a disaster for the agency. They've lost a lot of talent. And so let's make sure it's justified before we move these agencies out of the DMV.
So in fairness, this is not what you're doing now. This is not just a immediate response to what we've seen with this current administration. This is something your predecessor actually got the ball rolling on, right?
She did, yeah. So Congressman Jennifer Wexton started this legislation, but it's more relevant than ever because we've already seen letters from members of Congress wanting Trump to move agencies to their district, to their state. And we've also seen that they've put out a letter saying, you know, we want to look into moving agencies. So they've already started the ball on this. I want to make sure, you know, we're on offense and not defense.
So I want to ask you about, and I know you're a new member of Congress. You had a lot of years in the Virginia delegation, in the Virginia legislature, but a new member of the U.S. Congress now. And there's obviously, with the change in administration, there's a lot of questions up in the air. Democratic Party itself is getting a lot of attention as to whether or not it is, quote unquote, fractured or where it goes from here. You mentioned even tonight with your town hall, you want to be in a redder district or redder part of your district. Where do you see, I guess, the Democratic Party going from here to try to, if it is in fact fractured, I'll let you say if you think it is or not, you know, repair itself?
Yeah, I think a couple of things. One, I think our policies are actually good for the American people. I think we don't have a policy problem right now. Like, we have a great economic message, which is making sure the economy works for everyone, making sure that we're giving people a good deal. And two, I want to make sure that we're talking about the right things. So the economy, I met many small business owners the other day, and they were talking about how costs are high, but this administration has done nothing about it, and we're not talking about it enough, right? And the second part is, you know, even if you look through all of the stuff we've been through, we can still come back and we can still have a good message on all fronts, but we have to be united as well. And certainly the House and Senate this past week were not united, and so we have to have a good strategy going into some of these fights.
We're not seeing a lot of what's happening behind the scenes. Do you feel that many other Democratic members are doing what you're doing, and that is, let's go into redder neighborhoods and let's talk to them, let's hear from them and see what's going on? Or, you know, I mean, some of the feeling you get is that we're just going in this direction, right? And the left wants to stay on the left and not try to bridge that gap.
Yeah, you know, I think we should talk to all our constituents, especially the ones that disagree with us. That's how you build empathy. That's also how you be a better legislator. And so I know many others are trying to do this as well. It's so important to just face your constituents, even the ones that disagree with you. And that's what we're trying to do. I think that's also how we'll build the party. And most importantly, that's also how I'll be a better legislator, is by hearing the dissent and being better.
One of the ways that you're diving in already is with a lot of the armed forces work, and unfortunately we saw the tragedy that played out in the Potomac, or over the Potomac, by Reagan National involving the military helicopter. You're trying to make some moves to make sure that doesn't happen again. Yeah,
I launched an investigation, bipartisan investigation, to try to see if all these DoD exercises, these helicopters that are going through Reagan National's airspace, you know, what's going on with that? You know, do we need to keep doing that? Like, is there a way we can do it safer? Because I'm really concerned right now by air safety generally, but especially in our region. And I don't want to see an accident like this ever happen again. again.
Well, I very much appreciate you coming in today. Anything else you want constituents to know? If they want to have their voices heard, reach out to you,
reach
be
out
in
to
touch.
me. You know, I want to hear from you. And most importantly, even if you disagree with me, let's work together. Let's try to solve issues. That's what our country needs right now.
Well, I appreciate it very much. There's the information for tonight's town hall. If you'd like to head out to Warrenton tonight, if you're in that area, or not, to go have your voices heard and at least be heard. And there, of course, is the Congressman's website if you'd like to be in touch on the Hill. Thanks, Congressman. It's nice talking to you this morning. Really appreciate it.